from the drama-free true crime destination. It's your Wednesday check-in with truth, talk, and the stories that won't let go. This is the And a good Wednesday evening, everybody. Welcome to Bethea'S Byte Reloaded, the midweek bite. I'm Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw. So good to have you aboard. And we are going to start off this evening with the same. Well, we're actually going to start it off pretty much the same way I started off Monday with Mondays in Memoriam. We're going to kick things off with an Amber Alert. This one coming out of Florida. Please watch your screens. As you can see, we have 3-year-old Azon Turner out of Riviera Beach, California. Excuse me, out of Riviera Beach, Florida. Azon stands 3 feet tall, weighs 32 pounds. He's 3 years of age. He was last seen wearing a khaki shirt, khaki shorts, and black light-up shoes with red trim. His brother, Akachi Turner, also out of Riviera Beach, Florida, is 11 years of age. He stands 5 feet tall, 72 pounds. He was last seen wearing a black shirt, black pants, and high-top Fila sneakers. Here's the information that we have thus far. Florida Amber Alert issued for both Azon Turner and Akachi Turner. The children were last seen in the 1200 block of West 6th Street in Riviera Beach, Florida. They may be in the company of their non-custodial mother, Audrey Turner. Stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighs 180 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black tank top, cream skirt with black stripes. She may be wearing her hair in a ponytail, and she has a nose ring. They may be headed toward traveling to Georgia toward the Atlanta area. Their last word, they were traveling in a black Toyota sedan with front end damage. Authorities say the children were taken from their foster home and they are considered to be in extreme danger. So now, this is where you guys come in. If you have any information, I mean anything, if you know anything, if you see anything, please do not hesitate. Call 911 immediately. You're also asked to call the Riviera Beach Police Department. That number is 561-845-4123. 561-845-4123. Also, if you need to get in contact with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, that number is 1-800-THE-LOST. 1-800-843-5678. Or you can drop a tip at www.missingkids.org. But please, these children could be, like I said moments ago, they are considered in extreme danger. Please, let's do what we can to bring them home. And as always, I can't express this enough. If you see something, please say something. That way we can do something. Let's bring Akachi and let's bring Azon home, back to their foster families, and let's bring them home safe. I pray to God those two boys are found safe. All right. Now, let's get down to the business at hand. We got a lot of updates coming back to Monday, and trial previews to go along with it. In fact, right now I'm gonna start it off with an update on the killer's daughter murder trial, Georgia versus Wolfenberger. Give me 1 second to get you all set up. Oh, that's perfect. All right. All right. And here we go. A Georgia man is standing trial right now for the cold case murder of his wife, who was the daughter of a convicted serial killer. Christopher Wolfenberger, as you see on the left side of this photo here, was arrested in August 2024 for the murder of Melissa Wolfenberger. Her remains, including her severed head, were found in trash bags in April and June of 1999. At the time, her remains were misidentified and weren't positively identified until 2003, according to Atlanta police. Melissa disappeared in late 1998. At the time, Christopher claimed she left on her own accord and never returned, but according to court documents obtained by Court TV. He told investigators he never reported her missing because he assumed she had moved on with her life. Prosecutors said Melissa had filed temporary protective order against Christopher in July of 1998 and that she intended to leave him. At a press conference announcing his arrest, authorities said Christopher was always a person of interest, but did not detail what led to his arrest decades later. Court documents state that Melissa's remains were found directly across the street from where Christopher worked at the time. A grand jury indicted Christopher on charges of murder and felony murder. So we're on day 5 right now, and if you are interested in following this case, or if you're interested in catching up with that, I am leaving you this link right here, and I'll post it on YouTube in the chat later. This is the link. Follow this link, and you'll be caught up with day 5, and you'll also catch all the previous day's testimony as well. All right, next on the docket, we get a little preview of the Young Dolph murder trial. Rapper Young Dolph was murdered, and right now standing trial is Hernandez Govan in Tennessee. Alright, a Tennessee man standing trial for his alleged role in the murder of rapper Young Dolph. Henderson Govan is the 4th defendant charged in the November 17th, 2021 slaying of Young Dolph, whose real name is Adolph Thornton Jr. He's standing trial on charges of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The rapper and record label owner was ambushed and shot to death while buying cookies at a bakery in his hometown of Memphis. Police said 2 men exited a white Mercedes-Benz and fired shots into Makeda's Homemade Cookies, which is near the rapper's boyhood home in the Castalia neighborhood. Last year, co-defendant Justin Johnson was convicted and sentenced to life in prison for his part in the murder. Co-defendant Cornelius Smith will face trial later this year. At Johnson's trial, Smith testified that the brother of rapper Yo Gotti, Anthony Big Juke Mims, had put out a $100,000 hit on Young Dolph and had also put out bounties on all the artists at Young Dolph's record label, Paper Route Empire. Smith said he and Johnson set out the morning of November 17, 2021, looking for somebody and didn't know who we were going to catch. They knew that Young Dolph and some of his artists were participating in a Thanksgiving turkey giveaway, so they were heading in that direction when they saw Young Dolph's car. They followed him to the shop and opened fire in broad daylight. That's according to Smith. Young Dolph was hit 22 times and died at the scene. Jamarcus Johnson, who pleaded guilty in June 2023 to 3 counts of serving as an accessory after the killing by helping Smith, and Justin Johnson, his half-brother, also testified. Jamarcus Johnson has acknowledged helping communicate by cell phone while they were on the run for authorities. Govan is accused of organizing the killing and was identified by Smith as a go-between with Big Juke. At the time of his arrest, Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy said Govan solicited the murder and put it in motion. All right. So now they're on day 3 of that particular trial, and if you want to catch up with that, you can follow this link and also the 2 previous days' testimony. I'll be keeping up with both of those trials, and all the way until we get a verdict. Next up, a next Major League Baseball pitcher is facing sentencing for shooting his wife's parents. I can only say this much in relief that I'm glad it's not an ex New York Yankee. Okay, so sentencing for retired Major League pitcher Daniel Serafini was delayed on today after a judge agreed to hear the defense's motion for a new trial, according to KCRA. In July, a Placer County jury found the 51-year-old guilty of killing his father-in-law, Gary Spoor, and severely wounding his mother-in-law, Wendy Wood, on June 5, 2021 at their home on Lake Tahoe's West Shore. Wood received extensive rehabilitation but died after a year after the shooting. Serafini was convicted of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and first-degree burglary. He faces life without parole. Assistant Chief Deputy District Attorney Richard Miller, who prosecuted the case, told jurors that Serafini hated his wife's wealthy parents and was heard saying he was willing to pay $20,000 to have them killed, according to a report from the Sacramento Bee. A left-hander, Serafini was drafted in 1992 by the Minnesota Twins. He also played for the Chicago Cubs, San Diego Padres, Pittsburgh Pirates, Cincinnati Reds, and the Colorado Rockies. The jury was shown transcripts of angry emails and text messages between Serafini and his in-laws in which they were involved in a heated, ongoing dispute over a $1.3 million loan to help fund his wife's fledgling horse ranch business. That too is a report from the Sacramento Bee. Defense attorney David Dratman argued that there is no physical evidence linking Serafini to the crime scene, noting that security camera footage showed a masked intruder entering the couple's home who appeared to be younger with a smaller body frame than the former baseball player. Dratman told the jury that although his client had a rocky relationship with his in-laws, the couple was generous with Serafini and his wife, loaning them money and treating them to lavish vacations. Does that provide a motive for murder? That's killing the golden goose, Dratman said in his closing argument. Dratman declined to comment about the verdict. The judge agreed to hear the defense's motion for a new trial in October. All right, next up we have the speeding trooper homicide trial, state of Georgia versus A.J. Scott. Oh, and if I'm treating this like this is news, then let's take it like that, okay? The mayor of a small Georgia city is standing trial for a second time on charges he killed 2 teenagers and injured 2 others while he was a state trooper. Anthony James A.J. Scott is the mayor of Buchanan, Georgia, but the charges he's facing stem from his time as a trooper with Georgia State Patrol. Scott is charged with 2 counts of second-degree homicide by vehicle, as well as 2 counts of serious injury by vehicle, speeding, and reckless driving. Prosecutors say Scott was speeding on September 26, 2015, while driving north on US Highway 27 in his patrol car when he slammed into a vehicle heading south with four people inside. The driver, Dylan Wall, suffered a fractured skull. Benjamin Finken, a passenger, suffered a traumatic brain injury. Two teenage girls in the car, 16-year-old Isabella Chinchilla and 17-year-old Kylie Lindsay, were both killed in the crash. Scott stood trial for the first time in May 2019, but the trial ended in a mistrial while the jury was deliberating after defense attorneys found that prosecutors failed to disclose evidence. The state failed to tell defense attorneys that one of the investigating troopers had a theory that Lindsay had been sitting in the front of the car at the time of the crash, rather than in the back seat. For defense attorneys, the possible change in seating was a significant point. At the time of the collision, Wall had been turning left. The defense pointed to Lindsay's presence in the front seat as an obstruction to Wall's view, resulting in his failure to yield to Scott's oncoming cruiser properly. Prosecutors maintained that Scott was driving over the posted 55-mile-an-hour speed limit over a hill with limited visibility, leaving him at fault in the deadly crash. And we break this down now with the opening statement. Senior DeKalb County ADA Heather Waters told the jury that then Trooper A.J. Scott was speeding and reckless when he crashed into a vehicle carrying four teenagers. Scott was driving between 83 and 90 miles an hour in a 55 zone, despite dark conditions, wet roads, and limited visibility when he crashed into the vehicle. He hits them with devastating force, Walters said. Kylie Lindsay was ejected from the vehicle. Benjamin Finken and Dylan Wall suffered skull fractures and memory loss. Isabella Chinchilla, as mentioned, was also killed in the crash. I went right when I should have went damn left, the defendant reportedly stated after the crash. When asked if he was running lights and sirens or responding to a call, he admitted he was not. Waters noted that there was alcohol in the victim's vehicle, and tests conducted by the state's patrol Nighthawks DUI task force showed no evidence that driver Dylan was under the influence. An accident reconstruction expert was expected to testify that the defendant had been traveling the speed limit. The crash would have never happened at 83 miles an hour. The officer was covering approximately 121 feet per second, nearly the length of a football field from where Dylan began making his turn. Defense attorney Mark Pilgrim explained that his client's defense strategy using an unusual visual aid, a loaf of bread from Quick Trip, in their opening statement. Pilgrim shared his past experience working in a bakery where he encountered quality control inspectors who would thoroughly examine bread products, drawing a parallel to the jury's role. Pilgrim emphasized their responsibility to scrutinize the prosecution's case. The defense outlined their version of events, stating Dylan Wall was driving an '05 Nissan Sentra with three other teenagers leaving the party. According to Pilgrim, Wall made a left turn without yielding or using a turn signal on a rainy night when the crash occurred. Pilgrim acknowledged the tragedy of losing two young girls in the incident, expressing deep sympathy for the families while maintaining that his client was not at fault. The defense attorney concluded by characterizing the incident as an accident and suggesting that reasonable doubt exists in the case. That's the opening statements for this trial, but I know there's a lot more going on, and I'll be sure to bring it to you as we get closer to as the case is just beginning and we get to a verdict. Also on Monday, the parents of a Washington teenager was sentenced in that altercation in which was being labeled as an honor killing attempt. A father and mother in Washington state have been sentenced for an altercation with their teenage daughter. Last month, a Thurston County jury acquitted Ihsan and Zara Ali on the top count of second-degree murder for the incident involving their then 17-year-old daughter Fatima. Ihsan, who was convicted of second-degree assault, unlawful imprisonment, and fourth-degree assault, was hit with a maximum on the top two charges: 14 months in prison for second-degree assault and 12 months in prison for unlawful imprisonment. Ihsan has been in jail for 10 months. In addition, Ihsan must complete a total of 30 months community service and a parenting class, and he cannot have contact with Fatima for 10 years. On the fourth degree assault conviction, Ihsan was sentenced to 364 days with 182 days suspended, which will occur concurrently with counts 2 and 3. He also cannot have any contact with his daughter's boyfriend, Isaiah, for 24 months. Zara, who was convicted of violating a no-contact order filed on behalf of Isaiah's father, was sentenced to 364 days in jail with 83 days suspended for 24 months. Zara was not taken back into custody since she served 9 months in jail before the verdict. On October 18, 2024, Fatima planned to run away from home to avoid going on a trip to Iraq. Her family searched for Fatima throughout the morning and located her with a boyfriend, Isaiah, on the campus of Timberline High School. The incident between Fatima and her father was captured on surveillance video from an inner-city transit bus approaching the school, as well as videos from several bystanders. Prosecutors argued that Ihsan Ali was angry with his daughter and placed her in a chokehold and squeezed her neck, all while students attempted to free Fatima from her father's grasp. Defense attorneys say they saw the incident differently and that the incident amounted to 53 seconds. That there was no clear evidence that either parent tried to harm Fatima and was attempting to take her home after she left home for a second time in the same month. The jury acquitted both parents of attempted second-degree murder. However, Ihsan was convicted of second-degree assault, unlawful imprisonment, and a misdemeanor of assault in the fourth degree. Ihsan faces a 12-month prison sentence but has been in jail since his arrest last November. Now, my belief is this. Finding your daughter after she runs away is one thing, but if you're gonna put your hands on her, put your arm around her neck and squeeze, that's assault. That's assault. That's also an attempted murder in my eyes. I think it won't be the prison sentence, but the no contact with the daughter, that's going to really tear at him. 10 years no contact with their daughter. I hate to be the parents in that one. All right, next up, an Arizona father charged with his daughter's hot car death wants a new plea deal. Are you serious? Christopher Schultz wants a new plea deal. Oh boy, this is going to be good. Alright, Tucson, Arizona. Arizona father charged in the hot car death of his 2-year-old daughter seeking a new plea deal. Christopher Schultz is charged with first-degree murder for the July 2024 death of his young daughter. Investigators say she spent almost 3.5 hours in a car seat in temperatures well over 100 degrees while her father sat in the living room drinking, playing video games, and watching pornography. Now let's add all that up. 3.5 hours, temperatures over 100 degrees. In March, Schultz rejected a chance to plead guilty to second-degree murder, which carries a sentence of 10 to 25 years. On Friday, Schultz appeared in court with his attorney, Mark Adair, who said they would like to try for a new plea deal. Adair says he's developing new evidence that would argue for a lighter punishment. We have been working diligently to try to get mitigation evidence put together, specifically that pertains to these kinds of cases, specifically deaths for children left in hot cars. We've been doing research across the entire country in that regard. The judge set a September 19th hearing to address the matter over the objections from the prosecutor, who said the plea is not changing. Schultz is currently scheduled to stand trial in October. However, his defense said they would be filing a motion to continue. Now, first off, you know how I feel about plea deals. Secondly, you know how I feel about children being left in hot cars. So, let's put all this together. How is he going to ask for a plea deal for leaving his 2-year-old inside of a hot car in temperatures over 100 degrees? And given the fact that he left her in that car for 3.5 hours. And what was he doing? Playing video games, drinking, watching pornos. And he wants a new plea deal. He shouldn't have even been offered this one. And there is no mitigating circumstances or excuses that he can use for leaving his child in a hot car. And let me look back again. The last deal. Oh yeah, he won a chance to plead guilty to second-degree murder, which carries a sentence of 10 to 25 years. 10 to 25 years. Then on top of it, he's already going to end up doing a lifetime without his daughter. But then again, he may not care about all that at all. Give him a drink. If you don't put him behind bars, just give the guy a drink, give him his video game, give him his pornos, and he's happy. Ladies and gentlemen, as I've stated once before, probably in a different video, probably under a different format, I forgot is no longer an excuse for leaving your child in a hot car, especially under triple-digit temperatures. Now that I got that out of my system, I'll say this. Christopher Schultz, your chances of getting a new plea deal may rise like those temperatures, but they drastically dropped, just like your child's chances drastically dropped when you left her in that car. Next, Department of Corrections video appearing to show Brian Kohlberger behind bars. Alright, let's see how Killer Kohlberger was acting according to the DOC. Prison officials in Idaho are investigating what appears to be leaked surveillance footage showing Brian Kohlberger in his cell. The video, which has been circulating online, shows Kohlberger placing something on a shelf and staring at his hands, which appear to have a reddish-purple color. The Idaho Department of Correction released a statement saying, "We are aware of the video circulating online and are investigating the matter. While we cannot yet confirm the veracity of the videos, if verified, they are a complete violation of IDOC policy, and the parties responsible will be held accountable." up to and including termination. We caution that some of the videos may be fake or AI enhanced. The Ada County Sheriff's Department said in a statement that they were aware of the video, which they said was not recorded in the county jail. The Latah County Sheriff, when reached by Court TV, also denied that the video was taken at their facility. Kohlberger, who is currently serving 4 life sentences, has been known to be an excessive hand washer, which may explain the discoloration visible in the footage. Kohlberger avoided a possible death sentence by pleading guilty to the murders of Xander Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves. Retired New York police detective Rob O'Donnell told Court TV that he believes the video is likely authentic. He noted that while AI-generated content is a concern today, he thinks it would take minimal time for the DOC to verify the footage. O'Donnell suggested there might be a sense of embarrassment leading to the delay, as officials are likely investigating internally for possible disciplinary actions. Attorney Tommy Pope, who has experience working with the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, suggested the video was likely leaked by someone inside the facility. Pope suggested that corrections officers, who are often among the lowest paid law enforcement officers, might have been offered money to provide the footage. Honestly, that's just nasty work. I mean, sure, Kohlberger deserves to be behind bars for what he did, but even that was unnecessary. Alright, let's get ready to preview the Matriarch Mastermind murder trial, which the jury selection has already began. Alright. Jury selection is underway in the case against Donna Adelson, the Florida grandmother accused of orchestrating the 2014 killing of her ex-son-in-law, FSU law professor Dan Markle. 75-year-old Adelson is charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation in the shooting of 41-year-old Markle. Prosecutors allege Adelson, the matriarch of a prominent South Florida family that ran a successful dental practice, arranged to have Markle killed after a judge granted him shared custody of the children he shared with the defendant's daughter, Wendy Adelson. I'll talk about her in another story coming up. The custody arrangement tethered Wendy to Tallahassee, 500 miles north of Donna's South Beach home. When Wendy unsuccessfully petitioned to relocate with the children, Donna allegedly involved her periodontist son Charlie Adelson, who brought his ex-girlfriend Catherine Magbanua into the mix. Magbanua in turn arranged for hitmen Cifredo Garcia and Luis Rivera to gun Markle down. Markle was shot twice in the head while pulling into his Tallahassee garage on July 18, 2014. He died the next day. Donna is the 5th person charged in the case. The first person brought to justice was Luis Rivera, who agreed to a plea deal in 2016. Rivera testified that he and Garcia, his lifelong friend, drove from Miami to Tallahassee to carry out the murder for hire. He told the jury that Garcia was the triggerman. Rivera, who was once a Latin Kings gang leader, accepted a 19-year prison sentence in exchange for testimony. Up next were Garcia and Magbanua, who were tried jointly in 2019. Garcia was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison, while jurors were deadlocked on charges against Magbanua. At a 2022 retrial, Magbanua was found guilty of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation to commit murder. She is currently serving a life sentence. Charlie was found guilty in 2023. A Leon County jury having rejected his claims that Garcia and Rivera had extorted him. That conviction came 1 week before Donna was taken into custody at Miami International Airport while trying to board a flight to Vietnam on a one-way ticket. Charlie, now 48, is serving life without parole. Donna is to be tried at the same courthouse where Charlie was convicted in November 2023. At Donna's pretrial hearing on August 8th, defense attorneys indicated that she plans to testify in her own defense. Yeah, say that now. See, you're saying that now. But there is that remote possibility she could change her mind. That is a defendant's prerogative, after all. And getting back to Wendy, she won her fight to quash a defense subpoena for Mom's murder trial. Let's see. This was less than 24 hours before Donna Adelson began standing trial for murder for hire of her former son-in-law. Her daughter's attorneys fought to quash a subpoena from her defense, and won. Donna's daughter, Wendy Adelson, was in a contentious custody battle with her ex-husband, Dan Markle, when he was gunned down in his driveway in 2014. While Wendy has never been charged, she has been brought in to testify at the trials for two other defendants who have been convicted in the case, including her brother, Charlie Adelson. At each trial, Wendy has testified under an agreement with prosecutors that offered her use and derivative use immunity. That means anything she says in court or evidence found as a result can't be used against her in any future proceeding. The immunity agreement prevents Wendy from claiming her Fifth Amendment right to self-incriminate. But the same protection does not extend to the subpoena from the defense, because the immunity only applies when prosecutors call her to the stand. Wendy filed a motion asking Judge Stephen Everett to quash the subpoena. Wendy was previously successful in quashing a subpoena filed during defendant Catherine Mangbanua's trial. Wendy's attorney noted in the motion that the appeals court upheld the trial court's ruling after Mangbanua appealed it. Judge Stephen Everett granted Wendy's motion to quash the subpoena and told her attorney that he would be permitted to place a statement on the record prior to his client taking the stand. While Donna wants her daughter to testify at her trial, she has asked the judge to suppress statements from a fellow inmate who said Donna referred to her as her jail daughter, quote unquote. Donna's defense motion to suppress says fellow inmate Drina Bernhardt has been working with investigators and feeding them information she's learned behind bars. But the motion says that Bernhardt didn't just listen, but actively asked questions. She was acting as an agent of the state, and thus her statements should be inadmissible. The motion alleges a third inmate, Mickey Eastwood, told law enforcement that Bernhardt questioned and manipulated Adelson, and said it was very obvious that she was trying to get information out of Donna. After hearing the motion from Wendy, the court went into a closed-door meeting to resolve other issues ahead of trial. And as I mentioned, jury selection started yesterday, August 19th, and it's still ongoing. I ended Mondays in Memoriam on Monday with this update. Mother and stepfather indicted for the death of Jaden Spicer. Jaden Spicer was one of the three children I spotlighted in Mondays in Memoriam for their lives taken way too soon and needlessly. Now this was the update I brought to you. Kentucky woman and her husband have been indicted for the death of her 10-year-old son, whose body was found after he had been reported missing. Felicia Gross, the lady you see on the in the photo on the right side of your screen, was indicted on a charge of murder in the death of her son, Jaden Spicer, as well as falsely reporting an incident, tampering with physical evidence, abuse of a corpse, and 2 counts of tampering with a witness. Let me hang tight a second. Let me get a sip of water so I can run those charges back once again. Hold on. All right. Let me run those charges back once more. Felicia Gross is charged with murder in the death of her son, Jaden Spicer, falsely reporting an incident, tampering with physical evidence, abuse of a corpse, 2 counts of tampering with a witness. Spicer's stepfather, Joshua Gross, has been indicted with complicity to murder, complicity to falsely reporting an incident, tampering with physical evidence, abuse of a corpse, and 2 counts of complicity to tampering with a witness. Felicia pleaded not guilty to the charge of second-degree manslaughter at her first appearance last Thursday. Citation alleges that Felicia confessed to giving her son sleeping medication. She allegedly told police she believed Jaden had a medical emergency causing his death. Days after the child was reported missing, police say Felicia led them to where she had buried her son in a plastic tote. Investigators say Felicia also coached the victim's younger siblings about what to say in police interviews. Now, let's see if we can make this make sense. She says, excuse me. She says she gave him. Wait. Let's start it back a little bit. She gave him sleeping medication. Then she tells police she believed that Jaden had a medical emergency. Stop right here. If she believed that Jaden was having a medical emergency, why didn't she? Let me think. What's that smart thing to do? Oh yeah. Why didn't she do this? The thing that just popped up on your screen. Or better yet, if 911 is too slow, why didn't she take him to the hospital? Why didn't she take him to an urgent care facility? She could have taken him to a clinic the very next day if necessary. What was she thinking? Instead, burying the child in a plastic tote. And then on top of it, she's not acting alone. The stepfather does the same. Joins in on it too. My lord, my lord, my lord. Parents are supposed to be the first line of defense, first line of care, first line of comfort, first line of love when it comes to their children. When they fail, it's up to us. And on top of that, now that I'm thinking about this, authorities like the Department for Children's Health and Human Services, um, Department of Children and Family Services, any variation of that department, if they were reported, if they were reported, and they decided to do absolutely nothing, what really gives here? I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But I will say this, and I say this with all honesty. I know I've said it this past Monday, but I'll say it again today. Kids, you don't have to worry about the monsters hiding under the bed. You don't have to worry about being afraid of the dark because of those monsters that are likely hiding under the bed, or that monster hiding in your closet. Don't worry about them. Those monsters are cuddly teddy bears compared to the real monsters you're going to encounter and have encountered and will encounter. Now, here's where the familiarity comes in when it comes to those monsters. Watch this. Every day, you call those monsters Mom and Dad. Think about that. Alright, I'm going to jump ahead. Head to the next story on the docket. That the woman accused of selling Matthew Perry his a fatal dose of carotene as decided to plead guilty. All right. A woman known as the Ketamine Queen is charged with selling Matthew Perry the drug that killed him as agreed to plead guilty this past Monday. Jasmine Sanga becomes the fifth and final defendant charged in the overdose death of the Friends star to strike a plea agreement with federal prosecutors, avoiding a trial that had been planned for September. She agreed in a signed statement filed in court to plead guilty to 5 federal criminal charges, including providing the ketamine that led to Matthew Perry's death. She agreed in a signed statement filed in court to plead guilty to 5 federal criminal charges, including providing the ketamine that led to Perry's death. In a brief statement, Sanga's lawyer, Mark Garagos, said she's taking responsibility for her actions. Prosecutors said Sanga, a 42-year-old citizen of the United States and the United Kingdom, as a prolific dealer who was known to her customers as the Ketamine Queen, using the term often in press releases and court documents. She agreed to plead guilty to 1 count of maintaining a drug-involved premises, 3 counts of distribution of ketamine, and 1 count of distribution of ketamine which resulted in death or serious bodily injury. The final plea deal came a year after federal prosecutors announced that 5 people had been charged in Perry's October 28, 2023 death after a sweeping investigation. Sang admitted in the agreement to sell 4 vials of ketamine. She admitted in the agreement to sell 4 vials of ketamine to another man, Cody McLaury, hours before he died from an overdose in 2019. McLaury had no relationship to Matthew Perry. Prosecutors will drop the other three counts related to the distribution of ketamine and one count of distribution of methamphetamine that was unrelated to the Perry case. Senga will officially change her plea to guilty at an upcoming hearing, where sentencing will be scheduled. Prosecutors said she could get up to 45 years in prison. The judge is not bound to follow any terms of the plea agreement. Prosecutors they said the document that they will ask for less than the maximum. She and Dr. Salvador Placencia, who pleaded guilty last month, had been the primary targets of the investigation. Three other defendants, Dr. Mark Chavez, Kenneth Imawasa, and Eric Fleming, pleaded guilty in exchange for their cooperation, which included statements implicating Senga and Placencia. Perry was found dead in his Los Angeles home by Imawasa, his assistant. The medical examiner ruled that ketamine, typically used as a surgical anesthetic, was the primary cause of death. Senga presented a posh lifestyle on Instagram with photos of herself with the rich and famous in cities around the globe. Prosecutors said she probably presented herself as a dealer who sold to the same kind of high-class customers. Perry had been using ketamine through his regular doctor as a legal but off-label treatment for depression, which has become increasingly common. 54-year-old Perry sought more ketamine than his doctor would give him. Began getting it from Placencia about a month before his death. And started getting still more from Senga about 2 weeks before his death, according to prosecutors. Perry and Imawasa found Senga through Perry's friend Fleming. In their plea agreements, both men described the subsequent deals in detail. Fleming messaged Imawasa saying Senga's ketamine was unmarked, but it's amazing, according to court documents. Fleming texted Imawasa that she only deals with high-end and celebs. If it were not great stuff, she'd lose her business. With the two men acting as middlemen, Perry bought large amounts of ketamine from Senga, including 25 vials for $6,000 in cash 4 days before his death. That purchase included the doses. The one that killed Perry, prosecutors said. On the day of Perry, on that Saturday, on the day of Perry's death, Senga told Fleming that they should delete all the messages they had sent each other, according to her indictment. Her home in North Hollywood, California, was raided in March 2024 by Drug Administration agents who found large amounts of methamphetamine and ketamine, according to an affidavit from an agent. She has been held in federal custody for about a year. None of the defendants has yet been sentenced. Senga also agreed in her plea deal not to contest the seizure of her property that went with the investigation, including more than $5,000 in cash. Matthew Perry has struggled with addiction for years, dating back to his time on Friends, when he became one of the biggest stars of his generation as Chandler Bing. He starred alongside Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer for 10 seasons, from 1994 on NBC's mega hit series. Now, I don't like plea deals at all, but in the name of justice, it's gotta. I hate to admit it has to be done. I can't stand it. In fact, you already know how I am. You know how I feel about it. But I think there's still more left that need to be said. Yeah, I really do believe if there's more with my colleagues, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, and what am I talking about? What am I talking about? I got my mind elsewhere. These people who who had a hand in giving Matthew Perry his this ketamine, they all deserve to be going right in the same place, right behind bars. I'll grant that. So justice for Matthew Perry. I pray so. All right. We go from Tuesday. We go to Tuesday now, and hopefully, hopefully, this is the last time I mention Lori Daybell by name. She's being extradited back to Idaho after her convictions in Arizona. All right. Lori Daybell has been extradited back to Idaho after being convicted and sentenced in two separate conspiracy trials in Arizona. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, has confirmed that Daybell was extradited to Idaho early Monday morning. Daybell was extradited to Arizona in November 2023 to face charges of conspiracy to commit murder in two cases. In April, a jury found Daybell guilty of conspiring to kill her fourth husband, Charles Ballo. In June, another jury found Daybell guilty of conspiring to kill her ex-nephew-in-law, Brandon Boudreaux. And last month, Daybell received two life sentences for guilty verdicts in the two trials in Arizona. Daybell was previously sentenced to life in prison in Idaho after being found guilty in the deaths of her two children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow, as well as her fifth husband's ex-wife, Tammy Vallow. Now, this is what I would like to call an exclusive. I'm going to show you this video, and like the title says here, this may be the last video you ever see of Lori Daybell. All right. Now, sure, it's only 41 seconds long, but it's 41 gratifying seconds because, like the title said again, this may be the last video you'll ever see of Lori Daybell. So I'm gonna take myself off the screen. I'm gonna mute myself, and I'm gonna let you enjoy these 41 seconds.
First, oh boy, guess who's going on a road trip? She's being extradited back to Idaho from Arizona. That is convicted serial killer Lori Daybell. This may be, folks, as you look at this, maybe some of the last video that you ever see of Lori Daybell. She's getting extradited back to Idaho. Idaho, not necessarily open or having a history of allowing in-prison interviews unless she ends up in a courtroom again on some motion or hearing. We may never see Lori Daybell again. And I don't know if that would necessarily be a bad thing, not seeing her again.
And to that, everybody knows that I've been if I've you caught me on other live streams, you know I have a propensity for singing at some point. So for the first time here at Bethea'S Byte Reloaded, I'm gonna do a little bit of singing for you. But this one is a little more common than you already know. So, to one Lori Daybell, let me say, na 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 na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. Alright, now let me get back in serious mode. We're going to talk about a case that's already hit the true crime community in waves. The Baby Emanuel case. Baby Emanuel Haro. The sheriff says that there are inconsistencies in the mom's story. Alright. A 7-month-old baby remains missing in San Bernardino County, California, after his mother claims he was abducted from a store parking lot. Emanuel Haro was reported missing on August 14th outside a Big Five sporting goods store. His mother, Rebecca Haro, initially told police she was changing her son's diaper outside a vehicle when a man approached her, said something she couldn't fully understand, and knocked her unconscious. When she awoke, the baby was gone. According to my good friend Julie Grant in her opening statement this morning, when the person said "Hola," then knocked her unconscious. I don't know how much of that just that one line is true or how much is fabricated, but there you go. The San Bernardino Sheriff's Department has now released a statement revealing troubling developments in the case. Quote, investigators interviewed multiple individuals, including Emmanuel's parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro. During those interviews, Rebecca was confronted with inconsistencies in her initial statement and declined to continue with the interview. At this point, investigators are unable to rule out foul play in the disappearance of Emmanuel. While Haro appeared in media interviews with what looked like bruising under her eye, consistent with her assault claim, authorities have not specified what inconsistencies they found in her account. Court records show the child's father, Jake Haro, has a criminal history, including a guilty plea to willful child cruelty charges in 2023, after a case that began in 2018 and went through 16 continuances. 16. In California, this charge typically involves causing or permitting unjustifiable physical pain or mental suffering to a child, according to Court TV reporter Cody Thomas. Cairo, whoever that is, was also arrested, or maybe it's Haro. He was arrested in June 2024 for possessing a firearm and ammunition as a convicted felon. He has a violation of probation hearing scheduled for September 2nd. The community organized a search party the day after the reported abduction, but the baby remains missing. On Monday, authorities said several search warrants had been served at the Haro home and a large amount of surveillance video has been obtained from areas of interest. Okay, So here's what we're gonna do. Authorities are asking anyone with information to contact Special Investigations Division. Let me get ready and put that up for you. Alright, give me one moment, guys. Or as my good friend Brittany J would say, hold please. Investigations. Alright, there's that number. Specialized Investigations Division. They're asking you to get in contact with them. If you have any information, that number is 909-890-4904. 909-890-4904. Also, if you have any further information, but you wish to remain anonymous, you're asked to call WeTip. Alright. If you wish to remain anonymous, you can call WeTip 1-800-78-CRIME. That's 1-800-782-7463, or go to www.wetip.com. And like I say, like we do with normal missing persons cases, if you see something, please say something. That way we can do something. In fact, I am going to look this young man up right now. San Bernardino in California. No search results. Okay, let me try the other way there. I am going to see if there's anything in the under FBI. And apparently there is not. Not good. Okay. So still the same thing applies. If you have any information at all you have those numbers. Special Investigations Division 909-890-4904, or if you wish to remain anonymous, contact WeTip 1-800-78-CRIME, 1-800-782-7463, or go to www.wetip.com. And as always, if you see something, say something. That way we can do something. Let's do all we can to bring little Emmanuel Haro home safe. Alright. Next up, the Menendez brothers. A parole board to evaluate the Menendez brothers for release. Could it happen finally? Could it happen finally? The Menendez brothers are set to make their cases for parole starting Thursday, marking the closest they've been to winning freedom from prison since their convictions almost 30 years ago for murdering their parents. Eric and Lau Menendez, who you see on the right side of your screen, were sentenced in 1996 to life in prison for fatally shooting their father Jose Menendez and mother Kitty Menendez in their Beverly Hills mansion in 1989. They were 18 and 21 at the time. While defense attorneys argued the brothers acted out of self-defense after years of sexual abuse by their father, prosecutors said the brothers killed their parents for a multi-million-dollar inheritance. The brothers became eligible for parole after a Los Angeles judge in May reduced their sentences from life in prison without the possibility of parole to 50 years to life, making them immediately eligible for parole under California law because they were under the ages of 26 when they committed their crimes. A panel of 2 or 3 parole hearing officers from a board of commissioners appointed by the governor will evaluate the brothers individually. Eric Menendez will have his hearing Thursday morning, followed by Lau Menendez on Friday, over video conferencing from the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego. The board will assess whether the brothers pose an unreasonable risk of danger to society if released, considering factors like criminal history, motivation for the crime, and signs of remorse, behavior while in prison, and plans for the future, according to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. Even if the board grants their parole, it could still be months before the brothers walk free, if at all. If the board grants each brother's parole, the chief legal counsel has 120 days to review the case. Then Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom has 30 days to affirm or deny the parole. Only then, if Newsom affirms the parole, will the Menendez brothers be able to leave prison. Newsom had previously ordered the state parole board to conduct a risk assessment of the brothers in response to a clemency request. At the time, he emphasized that the key question was whether the brothers posed an unreasonable risk to public safety. He noted at a May news conference that he has both approved and rejected decisions by the parole board before, and that he was the ultimate arbiter. The brothers' lawyer, Mark Garagos, sought release last month for Eric Menendez after he was hospitalized for a serious medical condition. He has since returned to prison. The case has captured the attention of true crime enthusiasts for decades and spawned documentaries, television specials, and dramatizations. The Netflix drama Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, and the documentary The Menendez Brothers, both released in 2024, have been credited for bringing new attention to the brothers. In the last year, weighing in from celebrities such as Kim Kardashian and a greater recognition of the brothers as victims of sexual abuse has helped amass a legion of supporters who have called for their release. Some have flown to Los Angeles over the past few months, holding rallies and attending court hearings as the brothers' attorneys push for their resentencing. The previous LA County District Attorney, George Gascon, first opened the door to possible freedom for the brothers last fall by asking a judge to reduce their sentences. Since their conviction, the brothers have gotten an education, participated in self-help classes, and started various support groups for fellow people in prison, his office said in that petition. The judge's decision to ultimately resentence the brothers followed months of pushback from current prosecutors who argued the brothers hadn't taken adequate responsibility for their crimes. The Menendez brothers still have a pending habeas corpus petition filed in May 2023 seeking a review of their convictions based on new evidence supporting their claims of sexual abuse by their father. Last month, a different judge ordered Los Angeles prosecutors to explain why their case shouldn't be re-examined. The State Corrections Department has selected one media representative to view the proceedings and virtually share notes with the rest of the press at set intervals. So, the brothers are close. The brothers are extremely close to gaining their freedom. All they got to do is all they have to do is pass this assessment by the parole board and have Governor Gavin Newsom affirm their release. That's the only thing about it. The ultimate arbiter, as he's calling himself, has the final say. So one can only pray if you're siding with the Menendez brothers, that is, one can only pray that this goes well in their favor. Next up, a story I mentioned in my under a different under the old format on this past Sunday that Amy Bradley's brother counters claims made in a Netflix series. Oh boy. What did they say and how is he countering that? Okay. The disappearance of Amy Bradley has captivated viewers with Netflix's documentary Amy Bradley is Missing is garnering tens of millions of viewers. Viewers remain curious about what happened to the 23-year-old who vanished without a trace from a packed cruise ship in 1998. Her family has never given up hope, including her brother, Brad Bradley, who joined Court TV for an interview about his sister's case and the recent documentary. Brad said their family continues to hold hope, calling it a gut feeling that Amy is still alive and the lack of concrete confirmation about Amy's fate. When asked about his sister's personality, Brad described Amy as the life of the party and a multi-sport athlete in high school who received a full basketball scholarship. She was always a great sister and friend, Brad said. The Netflix documentary focused significantly on Amy's sexuality, which Brad says was an incomplete portrayal. Brad said that at the time of the cruise, Amy was dating a guy. When asked about a letter a woman claimed to receive from Amy at the end of the series, Brad described it as a "forgive me" letter after Amy was caught kissing another girl. Brad said his sister was poetic and doesn't believe there was anything cryptic in the message in the bottle. Brad said while on the cruise, Amy was writing postcards to friends, buying gifts, and talking about plans after the trip, so the family does not believe suicide is a possibility. Brad emphasized there was no family conflict over Amy's sexuality, contrary to suggestions in the documentary. Amy came out to myself and my parents in 1995, about 3 years prior to the cruise. I guess you could say there was some surprise. I guess my parents had come to terms with the fact that she wouldn't be a source of grandchildren for them. Brad said, but all of that was well gotten past. Amy's girlfriends and boyfriends came to the house. Her girlfriends spent the night. Girlfriends went on vacation with us. In fact, Molly was at my parents' house eating Easter dinner with us in 2024, he said. We all accepted Amy. We all loved her just as we had always did. Regarding theories about what happened to Amy, Brad firmly believes she was taken from the ship. We know she didn't jump. She was never willing to go near the rail at any point during the cruise. We know she didn't accidentally fall, Brad said. We have 3 eyewitnesses that put her with Yellow, a crew member, that morning. 2 from outside the club that saw her go up the elevator with him, and 1 from inside the club that wasn't shared on the documentary. Brad also referenced several credible eyewitness sightings of Amy in the years following her disappearance, including in Barbados. I know for a fact she didn't run away to start a new life, he said. The fact that she didn't fall, didn't jump, didn't run away leaves only one possibility, as she was taken and removed from the ship for whatever reason. When asked about a photo sent to the family allegedly showing Amy in what might have been a trafficking situation, Brad couldn't say with absolute certainty it was his sister. I do believe with all the characteristics that have been compared through analysis, of those photos and many other photos of Amy that it's a high probability, he said. But 100%? No, that certainly is the one set of photos over all these years that really takes your breath a little bit. Brad noted the FBI's analysis of the photo indicated a high probability it was Amy. He also found it significant that in the 27 years the photo has circulated online and in news reports, no one has come forward to identify themselves as the person in the image. When asked about a glass table pushed against a balcony railing, Brad noted that he believes it was moved to support a narrative that the cruise line would like everyone to believe. So basically, this is still ongoing. This is still an ongoing investigation, and I'm hitting the wrong thing. This is still an ongoing investigation, still an ongoing missing persons case, and I am still trying to find okay, Wikipedia may have the information I need to give to all of you. Alright, this is what I'm looking for. Alright, let me pull this up a little bit bigger. Alright. Alright. Here's the information that we got. Or better yet, see if I can do a little bit better than that on size. There we go. That helps. Okay. This is the information I got. FBI is offering a reward of up to $25,000 for information leading to recovery of Amy Lynn Bradley and information. That's my Amazon Echo. Don't worry about that.
There's an extreme heat watch in effect from Friday, August 22nd, 11 a.m. to Monday, August 25th, 5 a.m.
Okay, now that we got now that Echo's giving me my weather update. Here's the information I was trying to give you all. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $25,000 leading to the recovery of Amy Lynn Bradley and information that leads to the identification, arrest, and conviction of the person or persons responsible for her disappearance. Here's the breakdown. Now, she has short brown hair, green eyes, stood 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighs around 120 pounds. She's missing from, doesn't say. Okay. The details first. Amy Lynn Bradley, while on a family cruise to the Caribbean, went missing from the Royal Caribbean International Cruise Line ship Rhapsody of the Seas. On Saturday, March 21st, 1998, the vessel departed San Juan, Puerto Rico, and traveled to its first port of call, the island of Aruba. On Monday, March 23rd, 1998, the Rhapsody of the Seas departed Aruba and was traveling in international waters to its next island port of Curacao in the Netherlands Antilles. During the early morning hours of Tuesday, March 24th, 1998, Amy Lynn Bradley went missing. The vessel later departed Curacao and continued on to the island of St. Martin. and further traveled to St. Thomas in the United States Virgin Islands before returning to San Juan, Puerto Rico on Saturday, March 28, 1998. Amy has the following tattoos: a Tasmanian devil spinning a basketball on her shoulder, the sun on her lower back, a Chinese symbol on her right ankle, and a gecko lizard on her navel. She also has a navel ring. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley, you're asked to contact your local FBI office, or if anything, call 911 immediately, or your local American embassy or consulate. And as always, if you see something, say something. We can do that way. We can do something. The family is still looking to find Amy Lynn Bradley and hopefully find her not only alive, but find her safe and sound. Next up. Next up. Let me have a little fun here. A Georgia teen is accused of killing her mother and stepfather. Her attorney just recently requested bond to let her out of jail. The judge in that case said, "Get that shiitake mushroom out of here." Bond denied. A packed courtroom watched as a Georgia judge denied bond to a 17-year-old girl accused of murdering her mother and stepfather. Sarah Grace Patrick, who faces 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the deaths of her mother, Kristen Brock, age 41, and her stepfather, James Brock, age 45. She appeared in court on Tuesday for a bond hearing. The bodies of the victims were discovered on February 20th, 2025 at their family home by Carroll County Sheriff's deputies. Both had died from apparent gunshot wounds, including shots to the head. Patrick has been held in the Carroll County Jail for 42 days since her July 8th arrest. Due to her age, she is being kept in solitary confinement for safety reasons, according to her defense attorney. The defense called 6 witnesses who testified to Patrick's character and community ties. Ben Bonner, lead pastor at Catalyst Church in Carrollton, described Patrick as an active church member who had been baptized and remained connected to the congregation even through her current challenges. Caitlin O'Keefe testified that she took Patrick in after the deaths, providing her with basic necessities and housing. According to O'Keefe, Patrick worked hard to graduate from high school early and was employed at a local restaurant. Carrie Jensen, the mother of Patrick's best friend, read a letter describing the defendant as someone with a huge heart who is loving, protective, and deeply rooted in her faith. The state presented emotional testimony from James's family, including his sister, Kim Bowling. "I not only lost my brother, but also my sister-in-law in the most horrific way imaginable. Every night I lay awake unable to sleep," Bowling said. Bowling also expressed concerns about witness intimidation and said that she feared for her own family's safety if Patrick was released on bond. Tristan Brock, James's eldest son, expressed his ongoing grief and concerns about Patrick potentially receiving a bond. "It feels like I'm living in a nightmare. I'm depressed. I struggle to sleep. I can't even walk through my own living room without seeing his urn and being reminded of everything all over again," he said. A letter from James's 12-year-old son was read to the court, stating his sadness and confusion about why Patrick, whom he had trusted and loved like a sister, would hurt everyone this way. In arguing against bond, Assistant District Attorney Michael Parrish emphasized that the seriousness of the charges and concerns from the Brock family about potential witness intimidation, particularly regarding a 6-year-old witness in the case, Patrick's younger sister. Parrish noted that this was not just a double homicide, but the murder of the defendant's mother and stepfather. Patrick's defense attorney, Latoya Williams, countered that Patrick meets all the legal requirements for bond, noting that she has no prior criminal history, no driver's license, and strong community support. They also highlighted that while the Brock family opposes bond, members of Kristen's family support Patrick's release. Defense suggested the court it could impose conditions such as no social media access, ankle monitoring, and house arrest to ensure Patrick's compliance while awaiting trial. In denying bond, Dustin Hightower cited concerns raised by the victim's family members about Patrick's ability to flee and potential danger to the community and to them. He concluded that the state had met its burden by a preponderance of the evidence, and therefore Patrick was not a proper candidate for bond. As the judge announced his decision, emotional reactions could be heard in the gallery, with one member of the Brock family whispering, "Thanks to God." So, looks like Sarah Patrick will remain behind bars until time for her trial. And honestly, that may be her safest bet. Moving onward, there's a stepmom right now who denies responsibility for her 8-year-old's death in an interview. This is coming out of Bakersfield, California. More than 2 weeks after 8-year-old Genesis Mata was found dead and abandoned in a Bakersfield motel, her stepmother, Graciela Bustamante, is claiming she was not involved in the child's death or abuse. However, reports show statements that contradict her. Ray Mata and Bustamante have been charged with murder, torture, and child abuse in connection with the girl's death. In an exclusive interview with Scripps News Bakersfield, Bustamante claims she never harmed the children in the couple's care. She claims she only took the blame because Mata told her to. "I regret even accepting stuff that he's told me to take," she said. But police reports say Mata told investigators Bustamante had hit the children with cords or hangers. Ouch. The reports also cite Bustamante's mother, who allegedly told police her daughter admitted to watching Mata punch Genesis until the girl was unconscious. Other conflicting accounts surfaced about the child's hand injuries. Bustamante said Mata accidentally stepped on the girl's finger, while police say Mata reported that Bustamante slammed a drawer on her hand. When pressed, investigators wrote that Bustamante later admitted to slamming a door on the child's hand and acknowledged participating in boiling water on her. Bustamante also denied any contact with Child Protective Services, but police say school officials had filed a report over bruising on one of the children, and Mata's relatives say they previously raised concerns with authorities. Bustamante has faced violence while in custody. On August 8th, officials confirmed she was assaulted in jail. The accused attacker, Anita Duran, said she lashed out after learning the case details, noting she has a young cousin named Genesis. Duran's commissary account has since received donations, though it's unclear if the contributions are tied to the assault. The case also sparked broader community concerns. During Tuesday's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, advocates are expected to present a petition calling for accountability in welfare oversight. Supervisors are anticipated to authorize an investigation into the Department of Human Services, which will hire an independent vendor to review the agency's practices. Mata and Bustamante are due back in court in October. So another child abused, tortured, killed, and abandoned. Stupid question. I know I've asked this question many times. It may seem rhetorical now, but like I'll call it a stupid question for the sake of asking this question after a story like this. Who's protecting the children? Because it's surely not the parents. let's try. Maybe I'll find an answer in this one. In this next story, an Idaho father is in custody after his teen daughter was found dead in the home. Let's see what we have with this one. We're in Caldwell, Idaho for the story. An 18-year-old girl is dead in Caldwell and her father is behind bars after police picked him up in Mountain Home. According to the Caldwell Police Department, officers responded to a call from a teen on Blaine Street in Caldwell just after 4 o'clock on Monday. Police say the teen said his father, 51-year-old Delbert Cornish, was inside a home and armed with a gun. A press release from the Caldwell Police Department says that officers made contact with the son outside of the residence, who said that Cornish made comments about shooting a family member and attempted to prevent him from escaping. After a short struggle, the teenage son fled the home unharmed and called 911. Smart kid. When clearing the home, police say they located a dead 18-year-old woman and a firearm. Police used automatic license plate reader cameras to locate the suspect, who was eventually tracked down to a home in Mountain Home. At 7:30 p.m., Mountain Home police arrested Cornish without incident. Caldwell police detectives, with assistance from the Canyon County Sheriff's Office crime scene lab, will be processing the crime scene in Caldwell. The investigation remains active. So while the investigation is going on, I can't normally give an opinion like I would normally would. So we wait until the investigation is over, and then we'll see what comes up of that. So again, I asked the question though, who's protecting the children? By process of elimination, I'm gonna say it's not this daycare director who is charged with murder accused of suffocating a child. We're in St. Francois County, Missouri. A daycare director in Missouri has been charged with the murder of a 3-year-old child. 40-year-old Tiffany Hedrick, on the right side of your screen, was indicted by a St. Francois County grand jury on charges of second-degree murder, armed criminal action, and abuse or neglect of a child resulting in death on August 14th. An indictment obtained by Court TV accuses Hedrick of suffocating Conrad Ashcraft with a weighted blanket while immobilizing his arms at Poppy's Playhouse 2 in Park Hills on May 16th. Authorities said the child was killed by asphyxiation. Hedrick allegedly killed the child while attempting to force him to sleep, according to a wrongful death lawsuit filed by Ashcraft's mother. The lawsuit claims Hedrick failed to recognize Ashcraft was killed and remained lying on the floor of the facility for hours without any effort to determine his well-being. A statement from the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education obtained by KKTV noted Ashcraft's mother found him deceased 4 hours later. Days after the incident, the city of Park Hills released a statement saying it referred the matter of St. Francois County Sheriff's Department, since the daycare was owned by a member of Park Hills City Council. The council member, identified as Spring Gray, resigned on May 20th. Ashcraft's aunt, Lacey Hardy, told KSDK that her nephew was nonverbal with autism. An obituary said Ashcraft loved swimming, Toy Story, Miss Rachel, Cocomelon, and the movie Cars. He also loved pizza and enjoyed spending time with his parents and family. Hedrick is due back in court on August 22nd. She entered a not guilty plea on August 15th, according to court records. So, again, Who's protecting the children? Not this daycare giver. So, if not her, if not the parents, then who? Drop me a line. Let me know who you think is and who you think should protect the children. Next, an Ohio woman. Whew, okay, this one is in the Justice Serve file. Haven't opened up this file in a minute, but this one is just too good not to pass up. An Ohio woman is sent to prison for killing her mother with a car. Anna Millette was sentenced to 21 years in prison after pleading guilty to killing her mother Joyce Millette by pinning her against the wall with a car. Judge Jason E. Nagel handed down the sentences, giving Anna an indefinite sentence of 11 to 16 and a half years for involuntary manslaughter with a repeat violent offender specification, and 10 to 15 years for felonious assault with a repeat violent offender specification. The sentences will run consecutively, resulting in a total minimum sentence of 21 years and a maximum of 26 and a half years. During the sentencing hearing, Judge Nagel cited Anna's history of stopping her medication and subsequent violent behavior as key factors in his decision. Judge Nagel mentioned that Anna had previously been convicted of felonious assault and had admitted to stopping her medication multiple times without medical consultation. He pointed out the last time Anna stopped taking medications, her mother was killed within 3 months. Defense attorney Julie Peterson argued that Anna is now compliant and cooperative, describing her as healthier now than she was a year ago. Peterson emphasized that when Anna is engaged in treatment, she's a healthy, safe person. Richard Millette, Joyce Millette's husband and Anna's father, spoke in support of his daughter during the hearing. He explained that Joyce had faced obstacles in getting Anna the sustained help she needed and that Joyce's death was not an act of malice. Richard stated that they do not view Anna as a criminal, but as someone who needs help, and he implored the judge to give her a chance to receive care rather than a lengthy prison sentence. The prosecution argued that Anna's recidivism risk is high, noting that she previously elected to stop taking her medication because she was pregnant. The prosecutor emphasized that each time she stops taking her medication, she commits a violent offense. Anna addressed the court before sentencing, saying this was a horrible accident, expressing remorse and claiming she has changed. She stated that she has regrets and won't commit another crime, describing the incident as a wake-up call. Anna says she has a daughter she hopes to reunite with someday. Whew. Normally, I am not on the side of any kind of mental health issue as an excuse. But now that the sentence is handed down, I really do hope that Anna is going to get the help she needs while serving these sentences. All I can do is wish her all the best. And finally, Melissa Wolfenberger's daughter had testified in her father's murder trial. Yep, this is the case that's still ongoing right now. The daughter of defendant Christopher Wolfenberger took the stand on Monday as her father stands trial for her mother's murder. 30-year-old Christina Garrett revealed she had no memory of her biological mother, Melissa Wolfenberger, who disappeared when she was very young. Christopher is accused of murdering Melissa, who disappeared in late 1998. Her remains, including her severed head, were found in trash bags in April and June of 1999. At the time, her remains were misidentified and weren't positively identified until 2003. On Monday, Garrett testified that she was raised by her paternal grandparents and initially thought they were her biological parents. She didn't learn that Christopher was her father until she was in high school. Garrett described the confusion she felt upon learning about her parentage, stating it didn't make sense to her. She described hidden photographs of her mother and being discouraged from asking questions about her. When she did inquire, family members were reluctant to discuss Melissa. Garrett said she began asking more questions after Melissa's funeral in 2003, where she recognized Norma Patton as a woman who had shown up to their house a few years prior. At age 19, Garrett found information about her mother on Facebook and reached out to Melissa's family, the Pattons, eventually meeting them with several times over the years. Garrett testified she no longer remains a relationship with her father or his family, having last spoken to him in 2013. During cross-examination, Garrett acknowledged understanding why her father's family discouraged association with the Pattons, citing the conviction of her maternal grandfather, Carl Patton. Well, as the trial is still ongoing, so I have no further information updated as of yet. But when I do, you'll be sure to get it here. All right, so that's gonna wrap up the midweek bite. But I want to give you a little teaser before I go. Coming up this weekend on Saturday night's main event, I have a scenario and a question for all of you. All right. Here's what I want you to think about. A woman is leaving a Jason Aldean concert when the woman was confronted by 5 other women. Those 5 decide to attack the one. The man who stepped in fought the other 5 women off. Now, the video has gone viral, and social media is split on the situation. Where you have some, mostly women, are calling the man a woman beater, and on the other side, men included, not only are siding with him, but saying they will do the exact same thing, and or some women are saying they would expect the exact same thing. So my question to you all is to give you something to think about between now and Saturday night. Now I'm going to pose this question 2 different ways. One for the men, one for the women. Fellas, if your wife, your girlfriend, your mother, your sister, your aunt, your grandmother, or any female you're associated with is being attacked by 5 other women, would you stand there and let it happen? Or would you stand up, man up, and fight those women off? Now that's for the men. For the ladies, I'm going to throw this question out to you a little bit differently. Put yourself in this woman's shoes. If you are in a 5-on-1 situation, are you expecting your man, your husband, your boyfriend, your dad, your brother, your cousin, your uncle, or whoever that male is in your life, are you expecting him to stand up to these women, or just stand aside and just let it happen? Drop me a line, and I'll post my email address up as well. because I'm gonna read these. I'm gonna read these answers off, and I really want to hear from you on this. All right. So no matter which way you side, I may even throw this in as a poll as well. So if you want to drop me a line and give me your full explanation as to what you would do, here's my email address. As There you go. King of Hearts 316 _ 09 at outlook.com. I am looking forward to having that conversation. I am looking forward to reading your responses. And oh, by the way, this is what I should have added. In the subject line, yeah, SNME 5v1 husband fight or not. There you go. So there you go. Email address kingofhearts316 _ 09 at outlook.com. Subject SNME 5v1 husband fight or not. All right. That's going to do it for me. I want to thank you all for joining me here for the Midweek Bite. I will keep news updates coming in the community section, and also be sure to join me here Friday evening, as I will keep you updated. I will keep you informed, and Friday I'm making sure the truth has the final say in the final word. That's Friday, okay? So I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you for joining me. And as always, remember where you were. This is the drama-free true crime destination. Your home for true crime news without the drama. Where your opinions matter. Where lively debates are encouraged. When your voice is heard. And above all else, it's justice served. And I serve it all up with no gimmicks, no drama, and no BS. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Midweek Bite. This is Bethea'S Byte. And it's reloaded. Until we meet again, see you Friday. Until then, you know what to do. Bite.
Thank you all for joining me here at the drama-free true crime destination. Be sure to follow Bethea'S Byte Reloaded all over social media and get your coverage of true crime news with no gimmicks, no drama, and no BS. This is Bethea'S Byte, and it's reloaded.